now from here, bend your elbows, slightly lift your shoulders up and move them back towards your hips. There's a kind of a forward and back movement, but don't let the back leg collapse. Good, take a breath here and very lightly step your left foot wide. Take an inhale and lengthen. Exhale, bend both knees and fold. Here is your first arm balance variation. So here's Bhuja Pidasana. Walk the shoulders inside. You can stay with this stage and just hold here. You can place your hands flat and the hips start to drop. Squeeze the legs in. Cross one ankle over the other. Squeeze your thighs in, the upper back here round. Slightly press down into your hands. Draw the energy up. And then very lightly place your feet back down. Fold forward and everybody roll all the way up. Straighten your legs, reach up. Exhale, bring your hands down, step your feet together. Notice when your feet step together, it's actually a really sort of neutralizing pose. Everything we've been doing is much more externally rotated. So when you come into this and the thighs roll in and the tailbone extends down, it should feel really good. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, extend and lengthen. Exhale, place your hands down. Step or float your feet back through the vinyasa. Remember, if you need to leave it out, step to downward facing dog and hold all the way back. So moving into the left side as you inhale, reach your left leg up. Exhale, very lightly step between your hands. Inhale, rise up to standing and crescent. As you exhale, sweep your arms back by your side. Reach your right arm up. Spin your back heel down. Come into Virabhadrasana 2. You have to adjust your front foot. Then reach your left arm up, right arm down, and start to straighten your front leg. So you're in this foundation for triangle. The inner thighs move toward each other. Maybe you grow a little taller. As you start to extend your arms out, the left hip moves back. Extend long. Place your hand on your shin or your floor, or the floor, or your ankle. Depends on the length of the side body. Reach your top arm long overhead. Turn and face the floor. Lift your back heel up. Adjust your feet so that they're hip distance and fold forward. As you start to bend your front knee, do not let the back leg collapse. So here's what will happen. Lift your back thigh up. Place your hands flat. One leg down dog. Sweep your left leg up. As you exhale, bring your knee toward your left arm, very lightly step. Lower your back knee. Notice it's different on the two sides. Lift your heart up. And as you exhale, straighten your front leg, fold forward. Inhale and come forward. And now here's your deepening in this pose. And we usually call this pose lizard. You can pause here. You can bend your elbows. You can lower to your forearms. So any depth is fine. Don't let this all, just check out. So you want to keep the front of the foot, four corners rooted, inner thighs hugging in. And now when you drop your head, you can take a look at what's happening on the back leg. So first you're concerned with getting the shoulder inside and the depth of this. So there's hip opening on the front leg. Now the back leg, if you tuck your toes and you lift the knee off the mat and straighten it, see if you can move your sitting bones toward each other. Good. Take a breath. Forward and back. So there is this movement. And now just bring your palms flat and straighten your arms and really hug your legs in. You can move forward and back. You can bend the elbows slightly. Lift your shoulders. This is very important. Good. And now from here, just very lightly step the back foot forward. Soften your knees and fold. Your head hangs. Straighten your legs and lengthen your spine. Good. as you exhale, bend your knees quite a bit. Move your shoulders inside, same as you did last time. Set up like you would for Bhujapadasana. Keep hugging the thighs in. Place your hands down. They need to be in line with your shoulders. And then as you're standing and your hands come back to Bhujapadasana, squeeze your legs in and resist your arms out. So now keep your left heel in and start to straighten your right leg. And notice it comes out at an angle and the inner thigh is pressing into the back of your arm. And go to the other side. So this is kind of a half Titibhasana. Bring your feet down, shift your heels in and your toes out, and come into a squat. And then press your palms, take your shoulders back and down. So this is a good reminder not to let the chest collapse. Good. And then just shift your feet parallel and fold forward. And then before we move forward, adjust your feet so that they are the distance. Bend your knees a lot, as much as you need to. Slide your hands, your hastas, under your feet, your padas. And then as you fold, let your head go. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Stand in your hands. This is probably the easiest handstand you'll do. Take a breath. Exhale completely. It's a nice release for your wrist if you're standing correctly. So then as you start to take your hands out, roll up. Let your head come up last, and then come all the way up. Bring your hands down. Good. So now we're moving into Ekapada Kundalini 2. Ekapada Kundalini 1, and that's kind of a mouthful, is just a twisting variation of the pose. It looks very different. So start with your feet together. As you inhale, reach your arms up. Full breath in. As you exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Take an inhale and extend halfway. Step your left foot back. So you step into a lunge. Place your hands flat. Come into one leg, downward facing dog. So as your right leg goes up behind you, you have so much length. Now bring your knee towards your chest, step next to your right hand. It's a big step forward. And take a breath here. So as you start to lower your back knee, lift your heart up. And then as you start to bend your elbows and lower, it just is a good reminder. If you bend and everything collapses, it's going to hurt your shoulder. So as you start to bend the elbows, lengthen the side body, lift your shoulders up and move them back. At the same time, you'll feel your hips sort of turn on and the right hip goes back, left forward. So your body remembers all the places you've been. The shoulder moves inside. You can move your hand back behind your heel. If you do that, bring your left hand back in line. And now tuck your toes, lift your back knee off the mat, and lift your head so it's in line with your spine. Squeeze your thighs in. There's a kind of a forward and back movement. And you are starting to bend the elbows slightly, lift the shoulders. You may be able to pick this foot up off the floor and straighten the leg. Remember, the inner thigh is in. You can lean forward and the back leg lifts. And then go back. One leg down dog. Open the hip to the side. And bend the knee. And straighten the lifted leg. Level your hips. Come forward into plank. And lower down to your belly. As you inhale, rise up into more of a Sphinx pose. So as you lengthen here and open the front of the hip, I want to tell you the tendency. So while you're holding here, I'll show you coming into that arm balance and what you should not do. It's super tempting when you start to lower down and come forward, and this leg is lifted, to lean on this arm. Because you can get this other leg way up in the air behind you, but this hip is not resting on this arm, it's free. So as this leg straightens and you start to go forward, this back leg just lifts. And so this movement of going forward and back is super important. So instead of letting your face go to the floor and that back leg fly up behind you, keep it more level to start so that you really are very buoyant. Take care of your shoulders. Lower back down to your belly. Press the